Let's talk about artificial intelligence and open education. What is open education? Open education comes in many ways, but the idea is to open all aspects of education. The idea here is that we want to teach in the open, we want people to be able to learn, we want to share resources, we want to share experiences, we want also the students to be much more part of the educational process. One of the key tools of open education are OER. OER, meaning open educational resources, are of course educational resources that will be used for teaching, but they're also resources that are openly licensed. Openly licensed means that a license is indicating that the next educator will be able to reuse and do things with my resource which are granted by the license that I am using. Typically, the rights that I am granting with an open license are known as the 5 R's. The first right is the right to retain. This means that if my resource has been shared with an open license, another educator can have my resource on their computer, and they are perfectly legitimate to do this. It is not something that they are having to pay for. The second right, or the right of reuse, is that this next educator can use this resource in any way they want. For example, this resource you're watching now has got a Creative Commons license, and if you want to use it in your classroom and you are filmed using it, then this is perfectly all right, because I have given you the right to reuse by adding this license. The third right is the right of revision. This is one of the most exciting ones. As a teacher, as an educator, I am not satisfied with taking somebody else's material and using it as it is. I want to be able to change it. I want to make modifications. I might want to even change the language and use it in my own language. By having this right, the third R, I am allowed to do with this resource more or less whatever I want, provided the rights of the original author or the subsequent authors is respected, in the sense that I have to cite and explain that this work is a derivative work coming from somebody else's own work. The fourth right is just a little bit further than the third one. I can take two open educational resources and somehow merge them into one and obtain a new product. And this is a right that I am granted by, of course, the two licenses of the two different resources that I am putting together. And the fifth one is redistribution. It just means that I can now use this new material that I have created through revision or through remix, and I can redistribute it, put it on my web page, send it by mail to whoever I want, and say to anybody else, look, there's a new license here, which is consistent with the previous licenses, and please reuse the way you want. So how do we link this with artificial intelligence? So the first way to link it is that the way artificial intelligence is moving in education in this moment, our feeling is that we can't really wait until the publishers come up with the ultimate textbook. We need something much more dynamic, and open education will provide us with the possibility of sharing material between peers or between platforms, and we believe that this work on open education is going to actually help artificial intelligence in the classroom prosper. This is why this textbook is an open textbook, for example. We also feel that by actually allowing licenses of this type, the teachers will feel safer to use material on artificial intelligence, which is a destabilizing topic. Why do we need open education for AI? Well, also because we're understanding that AI is going to profoundly change the way we are teaching. it is not just going to add something to the system the way it works. We can take the question of accreditation, for example, and the question of accreditation is now completely to be rethought because of the arrival of generative AIs. And our view is that the same desire of innovation exists in the world of open education, and therefore that open education would provide us with some better answers to face the necessities of change that have now appeared. But finally, we can also think about the question the other way around. Not just what can open education do for AI, but what can AI do for open education? And here there is a lot to say, because AI tools can also add an enormous amount, not just for education in general, but for open education in particular. And we know of many teams which are working in this moment to develop tools in which the AI is used to find some OER, to better adapt the OER to the teacher's necessity or to the pupil's necessity. And we hope that with these technologies and other technologies still to come, the open education world will also be better off in a few years' time, thanks to AI.